So, that was Lonnie's tune, an arrangement by the late Woody Mann, and based on the playing of Lonnie Johnson and a bit of Charlie Christian, the jazz guitarist. If you're interested in the tablature, please do open the video description for information. And my goal with this lesson is to show you that there's always a difference between what's tapped out and what I play in reality. And here especially the right hand makes a difference. I will show you first how I play it as exactly how it is tapped out, and then we'll go over each section how I changed it, especially with the right hand. Okay, let's change the camera angle and let's get to it. So we're in drop D tuning, so tune down your 6th string to D, and all the other strings are as in standard tuning. Alright, I'll play it first exactly how it is tapped out at a relaxed tempo. So that's it. Notice that the tablature, which by the way is part of a very old finger picking course by Woody Mann. It's long out of print, dates from 1981, and I changed the order of the pages. I play page 8 and 9 first, and then page 7. And I also put numbers under the measures so you can follow and I can refer to that. So, the first part, which is, by the way, the Charlie Christian solo, I played the first measures without any bass. Well, just the first beat, but for the rest, no bass. And very rubato. So you have very free here. That was the first 2 measures. Slide to the 7th fret. And I know this is quite a stretch, but we need to sound this note, the 5th fret, 3rd string, long, and also we keep our finger in place for the next beat. So slide up to a partial A chord and go down on the 4th string, down even more to G chord, partial, and I added slides to the 6th fret 2nd string twice there. So and then we go to bar 5, partial C chords, a bar, and see that C note there rings as long as possible. So you keep the bar there. To a C7 for 2 beats, and and the pinky does all the work. Note how I go up and down with the speed and even the volume. Then same partial F chord, D7 moved up to the 5th fret and a bar added, and also that note rings as long as possible. And then a very slow slide to the A7. And there I added 2 bass notes. The last beat of measure 9 has that A. I added the 6th string, so make it a double bass. And then on the beat, that's on page 9. Slide bend, pull off, bend. So that's it for the first part. And then we go to the at-tempo part, the Lonnie Johnson part. And what I did there is anticipate the bass. In the tap it's, and I play, and I accent that and mute it afterwards. And in the third beat, instead of playing, I'm doing, and that starts on the 2nd beat of the 13th measure. So one more time. And notice that the bass notes, the 4th bass note of the 12th measure, and the 2nd and the 4th bass notes of the 13th measure, they're simply 4th string, open 4th string. I really try to accent those. And it is essential to mute here. I'm going to play it without any muting now. Doesn't sound bluesy, doesn't sound groovy, funky, whatever. That's how I do it. And I also think that's how Lonnie Johnson played. Very staccato bass notes. So we had measure 12 and 13. And the last note of measure 13, that A note on the 3rd string, I transferred that to the 14th measure, the next one. And I play exactly the same beat and notes as in the 12th measures. That anticipation of the bass. And now, instead of going 6-5, I'm doing the bend. Bend, mute with my picking finger, and then going down. So. And you notice the bend starts in the 2nd beat. That's a Lonnie Johnson signature lick, which he used in many recordings, especially in his pre-war recordings between 1926 and 37. I'm also trying, you see, my thumbnail is sanded so that the corner of it can either touch or not touch the string. So I can play with flesh or with And that plays an important role in the accenting. And then we're playing it a second time. There's a repeat sign at the end of bar 15. And the only difference is I play at the beginning of the 13th bar, and by removing, well, lifting my picking, my fretting hand, I get that short sound. Also important in measure 14, the second beat, you have that pinch of the two open strings, the third and the fourth. Then you slide to the fourth fret on the fourth string. It's a triplet. And I mute the open sounding G string after the pinch. So you see, it's muted and you don't hear it anymore. If you hear it like this, so it rings into the next beat, it doesn't sound good because it clashes. So that's also important. And then we have the second part, measure 16. Those triplets, and you can play the whole thing at a very relaxed tempo, or you could speed it up. But then those triplets will become difficult, and you can either change them to a hammer-on, and then you have to hit the string only twice, like this. What I also sometimes do, especially, you see my thumb is resting on my index finger, and my hand here, this part, is resting on those bass strings, and it gives me a sort of rocking motion to give. I can play much faster than with the finger only. It gives a sort of support as if I'm holding a flat pick, although I don't do downstrokes with the nail. That's a little trick to play a little bit easier when you have to play fast run. So, measure 16. Also noting, going up and down in volume also, and a little bit in speed. I didn't play the bass note in measure 17 there, the third beat or fourth beat. Instead of and I'm sliding down up to the sixth fret, third string with my index free, and do the next phrase like that. I neither played those bass strings in measure 18 and 19. So. Just one bass note here, after the 7 here, just like that. And then I'm repeating the first part again, but this time with the bass notes as it is tapped out. And I try to keep the bass muted after I picked it. And I don't play the second beat bass note, so it's this. Sorry. Walk into that C chord, and this is more like 2 beats over a triplet. And I have a little bit more time to go do that pretty awkward, because you have to place your pinky on the 6th fret there. If I play as it is tapped at, I'm sometimes late or the pinky is not really in place, so and here, this section, I added the basses, and I also I added those 2 bass notes, and I play twice the 4th string, and then I go to an alternating bass pattern. No basses here. All right. And then I played the first part, well, the Lonnie Johnson part once more, and the only difference is instead of going, I'm going. Exactly the same notes as in the tap, but I'm starting with a triplet. And again, you see with my thumb held on the index finger. See, I'm holding that note, this note and that note in the sequence. Of course you can play different things. So that's it for the first part. And one more time. And another signature lick. Way of playing the signature lick. Triplet, triplet, slide. Vibrato. And you can hold that as long as you want, of course. But if you tap your foot, start again. Start the triplets on the beat. And then we have again that. The last time when we go over this, it might be, well, I speed up a little bit. And so if you're too fast, then this way comes in handy. And you can either pick that slide, or what I did is I pick this note extra hard and then slide without picking it. And instead of going, I did a. So that's it for Lonnie's tune. Have fun with it.